Alright, so, past few videos you can see I've been doing a lot of what does it really take to get up in gaming. First off, we did a bit of a test on thermal paste. What do you really need if you just want to game and not much else? You see how many cores you actually need to play a game. But now, here's another little kicker for you. If you buy a case, a lot of these days it'll come with a couple of case fans, and obviously if you buy your own cooler, it's obviously going to come with a couple of more fans, but are they good enough? And a better question yet, are premium fans actually worth the extra money? Well, I did a bunch of testing with all the fans that I've got lying around, and, well, here's how it went. Alright, so test setup for this time was, of course, my faithful H87i Plus, well, test bench from ASUS. 8 gigs of my HyperX DDR3 not because there's a problem with the RAM, there's a problem with the CPU that I had to use, because the whole point of this was to test whether premium fans are worth it at all, if they make a difference, yes or no. Of course, I just went ahead and put in the hottest CPU that I could into it, that is an i7-4790K, and got on with it. The problem with my i7 is the memory controller is a little bit funky, so doesn't play nice with both sticks of RAM in, hence the reason why it was only 8 gigs for this test. Throw in, of course, my usual GTX 1080, and you've got a pretty respectable test bench that should be able to game, or at least give a good representation of a gaming system thermally. Now, of course, throwing it onto the OCCT benchmark that I like to do, my little burn-in test, well, results were a bit interesting. So I did 7 different configurations. One where, well, simulating what would happen if your fan just died completely, so we went with a fanless configuration. We went with a single stock fan configuration, a push-pull stock fan configuration, because it's actually surprisingly easy to get the fans for this. And then went over a couple of alternate scenarios. What if, well, granted the fans died, but you can replace it with something. Maybe, say, one of these, you know, one of your case fans. Maybe you've gone ahead and bought this at some point to replace an AIO. And in that case, well, you might still be able to use the fan off that. So I've got the Corsair Hydro H55 fan that was originally included in my AIO for my little PC. Also, we've got the Noctua NF-F12 Chromax, because, you know, might as well. I've got 2 Noctua fans that are of this size, so I figured I'd throw them in. And of course, the iPPC version, which is obviously a lot louder and a lot faster. Now, of course, fanless didn't really go well. It very quickly hit 99 degrees. It didn't crash, which I will give it its dues. It didn't crash, but it did cut the speed down to 2.4 GHz. On the other hand, completely silent, because obviously there are no moving parts now. It is literally just a heatsink with nothing else, which is, you know, pretty great in that respect. However, moving over to stock fans, well, they were pretty audible. Like, not to the single stock fan, it's audible to a point where you'll definitely notice it, but not enough that it'll annoy you. Moving to a push-pull configuration, well, that's when it gets pretty damn loud, and you do see a performance increase. With the stock cooler, we saw 74 degrees Celsius with its stock configuration, and when we moved to a push-pull configuration with 2 of the same fans, it actually dropped all the way down to 70 degrees Celsius, which is a fairly huge improvement, considering the fact that it's, granted, it's definitely pretty loud now, and it might actually get on your nerves, but that's a huge improvement, like 5 degrees just for an extra fan. Moving on to these little puppies, the NZXC case fans I have, because obviously I've got a load of them since I got one of them. You can see all of them here. Well, these also performed better than I thought they would as well, because these performed at 72 degrees Celsius just by 1 fan, compared to obviously 70 degrees Celsius with 2 of the original stock fans on that. That's pretty damn good. Granted, it's just as loud as the pair of stock fans, but you're only using 1 fan, so if you care about power savings, yeah, that's pretty decent. Not to mention, these are like $3-4 a pop. You know, if you wanted to go with 2 of them and go for an even cooler rig, you really could if you wanted to. Moving on to the Corsair AIO fan, that one was the shocker of the bunch. Like, considering the fact that this is literally just a fan that you get thrown in with your AIO and that's the end of it, despite still being as loud as the NZXT case fan, as well as loud as the original fan on top of that, well, dropped the temperatures all the way down to 70 degrees Celsius, which is pretty damn incredible. Like 70 degrees Celsius is the same as that with two fans, you know, 2-bit stock fans on just the one fan. You know, that's not a marginal increase, that's a pretty huge increase considering it's dropping, what, 4 degrees Celsius? Yep. And of course, by the way, all the results that once they had a fan on, the speed essentially went straight up to stock speeds at 3.98 gigahertz because it wasn't firmly throttling. That's why I haven't really been talking about it. Next fan on our list, the Noctua NF-F12 PWM Chromax Black. Well, Chromax fans. These also performed really well. Granted, they were the hottest of the bunch, but of the bunch, they were the only ones that I can honestly say were completely and utterly silent. Like, seriously, I tried my best to try and get some sort of noise out of them, but the ambient noise in the room was louder than these fans were, even at like 5 centimeters, 2 centimeters. Literally putting it right on, putting your ear right on top of it, or even putting a decibel meter right on top of it, you generally cannot pick it up over the ambient noise, so that's pretty damn incredible. Not to mention, yeah, it's running at 76 degrees, it's the hottest yet, but it's also the silentest of any of the fans. So if you go ahead and really do value silence over thermals, then that would be a really good choice for you. And of course, our final contender, the big bad brute, the iPPC 3000. Now this Noctua NF-F12, it's the one that I use in that rig as the exhaust, and you know, it's a fan that I've gone ahead and used. It's also the reason why none of my Noctua fans are on display. They're in systems and I don't really want to pull them out because that's a lot of work. But anyway, the iPPC fan. Now granted, this one was extremely loud compared to the other ones. It's not like... Unlike the other ones, however, it had a certain tone to it that made it actually quite bearable. And on top of that, the results speak for themselves. This one single fan dropped the temperature from, let's see what, 74 degrees C with the stock fan to 66 degrees Celsius with this fan. That is almost a 10-degree difference. And between the Chromax fan, which was absolutely silent, and this fan, which is of course a lot louder, it was a full 10-degree difference. That is a huge improvement. But the question, of course, are premium fans actually worth it? Obviously these two Noctuas are pretty expensive, and I'd say yes, but there are caveats. Now, granted, these fans are great. They're cheap, they're cheerful, they will do the job, but they don't really look that nice, to be honest. Like, sure, they look good enough, but not the kind of thing I actually like in my rig. That's the reason why I replaced all of them, because I just wanted something that looked nicer. And sure, the Corsair fan was absolutely brilliant, but of course that's part of an AIO, and it's not like you can just buy them off the shelf as easily. And that's sort of the same thing with all these. Like, case fans in general, these MZXT ones, they're super cheap. The ones for the Chromax Hyper 212, if you want matching ones, they're about $10 a pop, and at that price you start to actually get kind of pricey for individual fans. And granted, whilst the Noctua ones aren't cheap, they're about, what, 20, 25 bucks a pop, you know, for a single fan. These are likely to fail. The Noctuas can also fail, but the difference is if you get a Noctua, you also get a 6-year warranty. And as someone that's actually dealt with the Noctua warranty system and, you know, their customer support, I honestly say it's just better off getting the Noctua, because 6-year warranty, let's face it, 6 years from now is a fair old while in the future. So chances are your fan might die because you didn't take care of it properly, or for some other reason. But Noctua will still generally cover your warranty, and in that case, I can't really complain, because granted you're paying twice as much, but you're paying twice as much for something that's probably going to last 3-4 times as long anyway, and even if it doesn't, you have a guaranteed warranty like 5 years from now. So yeah, that's the reason why I say they are worth it to a degree. You know, if you prefer to have long-term reliability, or you want something that you know that you're going to have for a good old while, then yeah, get Noctua. If you want something that is absolutely dead silent, I mean dead silent, again, go Noctua. But if you also want something that is incredibly powerful and just gets the job done as horrifically loud, but as horrifically efficiently as possible, again, my point would be to go Noctua. It seems like Noctua seems to have all the bases covered, but the only thing that you would maybe consider something else for is the cheaper markets. Now, If you're going for something like the stock fans that you get with the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, in that case, honestly just go for Noctua Redux fans, because they're not too far off price-wise, and they are pretty damn similar. But if that is out of your budget and you really do just want a couple of fans for the cheap, I actually recommend these NZXT case fans, because at least like, what, $3-4? These cost barely anything to find. They are literally just NZXT rifle bearing case fans. I would say I'll leave a link in the description, but you'll generally find them on eBay for incredibly cheap anyway, so I will leave that up to you. But the question of whether they are worth it, they can be worth it if it's worth it to you. If you're doing overclocking, then you might want better fans, or if you're a person that likes absolutely dead silent operation, then of course you might also want to go for Noctua anyway, because it's dead silent, it's lovely, nothing better than it. So yeah, that is sadly where I'm going to have to call it. Sorry if some of you are hoping for a more definite conclusion, but my conclusion basically is sometimes it's worth it. And really it's up to you and your judgment call on what you want. Do you want a silent build? Sure, build a silent PC. Do you want a PC that is going to overclock pretty damn well and, you know, don't really care how loud it's going to get? Then get iPPC 3000. Or if you do care how loud it's going to get the 2000 versions. But my point is, you have to make a judgment call on this. Whether it's worth it is going to be down to you. If you've got a budget of, say, $500, then buying an extra couple of case fans ain't really going to be worth it in the long run, when you could put that money towards something else, because that's a fair old chunk of change in that case. But if you're, say, building with $2,000 or $3,000, then it could actually be a worthwhile investment to, you know, throw a couple of dozen or even a couple of $100 at your cooling, because it'll go ahead and allow the rest of your parts to run even better than they already would. So yeah, that's where I'm going to have to go ahead and leave the video for today. So like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Links to what I can that was featured today will be in the description below. Of course, also check out my Facebook, Patreon and Twitch pages, all of which you can find down in that description too. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more content from me, the 117th Con, and as always, well, this is the 117th Con, signing off. Stay safe out there folks, and I will catch you all in the next one.